everything. There you go.
Hi, this is Eva, the Relationship Maker, podcast where we talk about successes, relationships, and very interesting subjects when I have guests, like today. I think a week ago I was interviewed by this gentleman, and his name is Arnie Fonseca Jr. He's a life strategist, and he's going to explain what he's doing. But before we go there, I saw the picture on the Instagram, you on Mount Ord with the black rattlesnake. That was exciting. Hi, Arnie.
Hey, Eva. Yeah, it was. Actually, it was a couple weeks ago, and my good friend and Greg and I were up there, and he's getting ready to do his first rim to rim to rim at the Grand Canyon here in Arizona, and at the end of the month. And we're doing a little training, and we're coming down, and I didn't see the snake. He did, but I heard the rattle, and I jumped. I jumped. I think I might have jumped before he did, but we both jumped probably about 6 feet. And then we came back and started playing with the snake, which is probably not very smart, but he or she was not very happy. So yeah, that was kind of a, hey, it's part of what I do out in the, when we do adventures, whether it be in, at the Grand Canyon or wherever else, as things start to open up again. So I guess that's part of living, right? A lot of people don't get to experience stuff like that if they stop living. And
I was looking and I said, I'm excited. I wish I would have seen it because I'm a fan of animals, and especially if you don't, there are certain animals you don't encounter. It's like, oh my God. So you are a life strategist, but I know that you are training people.
I do. It's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, many years ago, probably in the last 10, 12 years, when I discovered all this stuff about coaching and stuff. And I remember somebody came up to me, a client of mine from Mexico, because I did a lot of work with brain injuries and spinal cord injuries. And she was a paraplegic from very successful business person in Mexico. And she had broken her back and was coming to me for therapy. And she was a big student of Tony Robbins. Mm-hmm. Been to many of his seminars. She'd even worked with Bandler with NLP strategies. She was a very educated, brilliant lady. And she was telling me all this stuff about coaching. And she goes, you should do all this. I go, I am a coach. But I hadn't even understood what it all had kind of morphed into before that, probably 25 years prior, because I was so involved in what I was doing. So I just started to study, and I didn't really know a lot about Tony Robbins back then, besides the fact that he was on Shallow Hal. But I started to, and I think I saw one of his infomercials at night, and I thought, wow, this is a lot more than I thought. And I think I even ordered that course. I can't remember the name. It's back here on my shelf, but I started to study what coaching was about, and I liked his approach because he did lots of things. Eva, he did the physical, he did the mental, emotional relationships. He looked at all of us holistically, and I go, yeah, that's what I do. If somebody has a problem with a relationship, I sit down with them and say, hey, look, how can we work through this? Because a lot of times in therapy, Eva, if people are struggling, it's not because they're struggling just from the physical part of the therapy. It could be what they experienced the morning of the therapy. Maybe they got into a fight with their wife, husband, girlfriend, child, dog, it doesn't matter, but they weren't feeling up to it. You know what I'm saying? And something was interfering with their ability to focus on what they were supposed to do. So I learned how to deal with that kind of stuff, whether it was, it didn't really matter. I just kind of took it on. So when people started talking to me about, and especially in the field that I was in, working with brain and spinal cord injuries, you can't just, it used to kind of annoy me when I had occupational and physical therapists that worked for me in speech. And they had these unwritten rules that they would only, well, I only work with this, or I only do this. And that's our therapy world, in which I go, ah. So I I would do all of it, even speech, especially if I had what they call a private pay client. I would take him into the speech room and we'd work on cognitive things that there was important in their program. Or I would work with, if I was working with them, I'd take them into the bathroom and we'd work on skills they needed to do that properly. Or I think I called myself a hybrid, because I would do all of it, because I was an exercise physiologist. I certainly didn't call myself a physical therapist. I kind of look at that with my a curse, and God love him. We got into lots of challenges, believe me. So from a coaching standpoint, when I finally got into that, it was hard for me, Eva, because I didn't know what to pick.
Yes.
What am I supposed to do here with this? And it's still a challenge to this day. And even just with COVID this last year, when everything was taken down, as far as me presenting for businesses and going out and doing the things that I was doing, I ended up kind of morphing back into what I used to do, 40 years ago, the physical stuff, the training, the helping people through, whether it be weight loss or strengthening, and it came out of the whole Grand Canyon thing, because we were kind of playing with that. And well, what do you need to do the Grand Canyon? You've got to be stronger. You've got to eat better. You've got to get yourself in better condition. You got to mentally prepare. All those things started to kind of fill those in those gaps there. So it was kind of cool. And then from there, I've even done a fitness boot camp, which is growing. We're bringing people in there in the morning at a place that is run by my coach of 47 years ago. And I'm actually helping him now. I'm actually training. He's 80 years old. Wow. I'm actually working with him. He had double knee replacement. He had back surgery. His life has been a tragic mess for the last 4 years. Wife died, all these things going on. And he was a shell of his he was a world champion. Wow. And so I was just talking to a girl today that she'd noticed how different she was. God, I'm so happy that you're doing that with him. And it's like, when I'm done with what I'm doing, before my next client, I go over to him and I'm creating a routine for him. And it's so much fun, but at the same time rewarding, watching this guy look forward to what we're doing. And at the same time, I was saying it this morning, we've only done it for 3 weeks and he's getting better. I'm starting to post some videos, being very careful. I don't put a lot of stuff on Facebook, but on LinkedIn about what he's doing. But again, I mean, it's fun stuff, but it's the physical stuff that I can do a lot. And there are a lot of trainers out there, but there aren't a lot of trainers that have the specialty that can work with somebody like that, or somebody that has had a traumatic injury. And I just try to earn their trust of anybody. So now I have people coming to me, hey, I've got this issue with my shoulder. Can you help me with that? And so all these old skills and all this old knowledge comes rushing back to me, and it keeps me on my toes too, Eva. I have to continually improve and go back and look at YouTube videos, and thank God for Google. I can look this stuff up now and stay fresh and stay on top of it. I'd learned a whole new system here in the last month that I'm teaching now. It's so much fun. It's brand new, but it's old information that's been put in a brand new package. How's that? Mm-hmm. And it's fun to do this stuff because I'm not dogmatic about anything, as long as we get results. Now, I used to say this years ago when I would do workshop. I don't care if you ate M&Ms all day long. If you're healthier and your blood work is better, what do I care? I really don't care. And that's kind of the way I look at things.
Have you ever seen Louise Hay's book?
Oh yeah, I've read.
When she has that, what problems, why happen, and it's more emotional. But but doctors are everything. It's physical, and it's like go to this specialist, that specialist, but they have no idea what's wrong with you.
Totally.
So
Completely.
Yeah, but everything is connected. Everything is connected.
It is connected. You know, it's funny. I would call her a semi-client right now, but she's going to be a psychiatrist.
Okay.
PhD right now. She's working on her PhD, or psychologist, PhD psychologist. And I'm constantly talking to her and helping her with stuff. And she does a lot of work with sports stuff. And, but you're so right. We don't spend enough time there. And I think it's because of liability. Because unless you are here's why, unless you are a psychiatrist.
Okay, I understand.
Like you're as far as billing and all the things that you're trying to do, you could go to an orthopedic surgeon, Eva, with a knee problem, knee pain, because I do a lot of work with knee pain. And let's say you're a middle-aged female and you need to lose 50 pounds. That guy can't tell you that. He knows in his heart and in his brain that if this woman loses 50 pounds, that there's a 95% chance that her knee pain will go away. Mm-hmm. He knows that.
Yeah.
But he can get in trouble to tell her that.
It's not right.
His job is to replace her knee.
Yeah, it's
Think about that for a second.
And give the medication. I liked your.
That's a mess.
The sissy knee exercise.
Sissy squat, yeah. It's an oldie but a goodie. I would have never taught that until about a month ago when I was looking at stuff. I go, you got to be kidding me. I came home and I was showing it to my wife and her, my daughter and her boyfriend. And I go, check this out. And they go, whoa, you can't do that. I go, watch me. And I go, this is crazy stuff. But it was fun because it was new. It was fresh. And I was able to get excited about it. And now I'm able to kind of do it and teach it, and share it. And that's kind of fun. I did a quick little video. I just posted it. I haven't posted it on LinkedIn yet, of me today. Just kind of doing a fun little thing. I just put it on Facebook a little while ago, where I said, okay, look, I've been doing this stuff now for about a month. And, I like these kind of things and new and fresh, I go, but really, here's the real evidence that I'm getting a little better. And I turn around and started sprinting the other way. And then I sprinted back. And I go, at my age, this is kind of fun to be able to do that. And I told somebody that I got the idea this morning because I had to run to my car to grab something. And I go, I'm going to run to my car. So I ran to my car and go, wow, I feel pretty good running to my car. And I told him about it. And one of the trainers, he goes, will you show me a couple of those things. I want to try those too. I said, okay. And it's just kind of fun. But to go back to your original point there, because I'll tell stories all day long, it's that because of our system that we've created here in our countries, we put people in boxes, and we've taken away their curiosity and their imagination and their flexibility and their ability to be nimble and to pivot. We've taken that away. And that's why I'm so attracted to anybody in the alternative medicine field, the naturopathic field, because at least they can think.
Yes.
I was even talking to a doctor today, and I'm not sure where you are on the whole COVID thing, and it doesn't really matter, but I've known him for 25 years. I train him. I've been training him for 25 years. 75, he retired. If he could still be a doctor, he would. And he probably should be. But we've had issues with things, medical issues. And one of the basketball players from our local team here, they said had COVID. And we don't talk about this stuff. I know not to talk about politics with him and anything like that. Because and I go, what? Are you kidding me? Because it's like, are you kidding me? I go, was he symptomatic? And he goes, well, I don't know. Because in his mind, he tested positive. And I'm thinking, because I know, and I wouldn't discuss it with him, that there's a 50% false positive rate here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, This is a team that's going to the finals. And I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. And so and he goes, oh yeah. And this is exactly how he goes. He goes, oh yeah, you don't believe in the vaccine. I go, well, it's not that. I haven't had a vaccine since I was 5 years old. And I told him a story. I said, I had 3 therapists that worked for me that had children, Eva, that had autism.
Yes, I know.
And he goes, oh, and he looked at me very genuinely curious. He goes, really? This is a guy that's was a doctor for 40 some years. He goes, really? Is it tied to autism? I go, well, one of the ladies that came up was one of the first ones after this whole pandemic thing. I told him this, and then this is where I stopped. I learned about her because one of my therapists, when her son was born and was autistic, she started doing a lot of research, and she ran into this doctor, and that's how I learned about her way before this. And he goes, wow, I never knew that. I didn't even go into all the other stuff, because I could have really freaked him out about dementia and Alzheimer's and all the other things, because that's my area of expertise, because I'm with my brain injury stuff. But there's a medical doctor right there that's clueless.
Clueless. Most of the doctors are trained to give pills.
Yeah.
They are trained to send you to a specialist, and even then they have no clue what's wrong with all the technology. And I would faster go to a doctor in Mexico, in Cuba, because they are preventative. It's not the Band-Aid solution. And that's what I believe in. I don't believe in the COVID. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't believe in the vaccine. But that's only my opinion. And I have the right, like somebody else has the right to believe in and to take the vaccine. It's
where you might even get better care. And I have a client, I've had another longtime client, he was a paraplegic, is a vet. You'd be amazed how many vets are so good at diagnosing stuff. They're so much better because the animals can't talk. They have to figure stuff out.
Oh yeah. It's like
doctors don't do that. They listen to you, you tell them the symptoms, they may run a couple tests, they may, make some money, and then they're gonna push the pills.
Yeah.
It's just like that. I talked to somebody 2 weeks ago and they had a pain in their foot. And the doctor literally went in the doctor's, oh, I'll just give you a shot for it. Don't worry about it. I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. How about what caused the pain in the foot in the first place? We're going to make it worse. We're not going to make it better. Because if you don't correct the problem, when it comes back, it might be worse. I had one of the trainers that I've helped get started here where I go in the morning, he played in the NFL, Eva. Played in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was in college, they used to give the kids a shot, maybe in the knee or the hip, back, so they could play.
The cortisol shot.
Oh, yeah. And so when it wore off, I go, whoa, what happened? He goes, oh, man. He goes, and it was something else. It might have been cortisol, but these are the ones that just were like in one day. Okay. And so let's say they go through their game, they get all pounded on. He goes, Arnie, it was horrible. He goes, one of my friends, another guy that played in the NFL, he called me one night because he ran out of his pain pills, because they would have to take these pain pills. Because when the shot wore off, he said the pain was incredible. And I go, what did you do? He goes, I didn't do that. He goes, I took a bottle of tequila. And that was how I came.
That's a way.
That's how I came down from. These are college kids, Eva.
Oh my God, it's incredible. I mean, I'm laughing because, like you have to do something, but it's
what are you supposed to do?
That you have to resume to something that it's addictive and you can really get sick. You can die if you drink the whole thing.
Well, let me tell you something. The reason I ran into him, the guy that actually that I'm going to the Grand Canyon with, referred me to him because he runs a recovery center. Because I've known about this guy forever, but never met him. And he faxes me over a name. I go, you're kidding me. and he was in recovery for alcohol.
Yeah, I believe that.
Now, I coached him for a while and got him back on the track, and he's a great friend now. But he got to a point where he called his dad and said, "Come get me, take me down here. I can't handle this anymore." But did that start when he was I hope they're not cutting my yard now. Might get loud here. But is that where it started? The alcohol problem? Probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to, like, depression and everything else. That's what happens. And talking about depression and everything else, I know that the serotonin level, it goes up when somebody works out. So do you find that if a client comes and says, I'm down, and you work with them, do they get better?
Oh, of course. I mean, one of the best things in the world is, hey, let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
Right? Don't you find that too? Sometimes, let's say, I know sometimes if I'm in here and maybe my phone calls aren't going well or something's not right, if I just get up, I have some equipment that I can go to another room, just go in there and do some exercise and move around for 15 minutes. I feel better. Or bounce on my trampoline or something. I feel better. And I know you do too. Or, and the old classic is, when you get angry, just go for a walk. And 5 minutes into your walk, you probably forget about why you're even angry. But we stopped doing a lot of that stuff. I mean, I did a podcast, I forgot when it was, but I was talking with somebody that, and this research is pretty new. Let's say within the less than 5 years, that less than 50% of the people in the United States, Eva, do any movement at all. Forget an organized exercise program. I'm talking about any movement besides getting up and maybe taking a shower and getting themselves ready.
Wow.
They're either sitting at their desk all day long, then watching TV, and then or they got to get in their car and drive to the store maybe and park as close as they can. And then
Yeah.
do as little walking as they can, or maybe get a cart or scooter and do even less, or have someone. Now we've made it even easier here in the United States. You can call up. I have a guy told me the other day, he goes, well, one of the best things about this, he goes, I don't have to go to the store anymore. I can just call up this little delivery service and they just go do it for me. I mean, we've made it horrifically bad. We have made it so bad here in the United States, even, I'm not sure how it is in Canada.
Oh, it's same.
I can call up a driver to go pick me up a Big Mac at McDonald's and a milkshake.
And what about the drive-through? You don't have to get out.
No.
You just order.
But I don't have to. They don't have to. People aren't even doing that. They're not even walking to their car to go to the drive-through, Eva. That's how bad it's got. Now, when do you think we're gonna see that problem?
COVID will never kill as many people as going to kill the sedentary world.
Bingo. You nailed it, girl.
Never.
Right there. It's going to hurt so many people from diabetes, I go to the stores now. And it's not as stressful anymore because I do the shopping in my home. So it's not as stressful for me anymore to go to the store. I would get, and I'm not an anxious person, but I would get anxious going in there, because one, I'm not a mask wearer, so I didn't really wear masks. So I would go to stores where they didn't bother me. But I would look in people's carts, and I'm trying not to be judgmental, trying it all my heart. But I would look in their carts, and it would be stacked up with soda, stacked off with all the horrific foods. And I knew what was going on. These were people that were afraid. They were staying home. They were eating these comfort foods. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is so bad. You have no idea what this is going to do to you. And it's just made me sad to see that.
But I realized that depends which segment of people. Like I was traveling down, I lived on the East Coast in Montreal, and I was traveling down to the States, still Florida. And it was so interesting because when I was stopping at certain places, like go to Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and all over the place, I was going into this restaurants, and it was like a free buffet or they were bringing you the plate,
Yeah,
and it was like huge, and I'm like, who can eat that much,
I know.
and people would go up for the seconds, and I'm like, something is not right,
It's not
because
right.
it's, like, it's too much food and junk. But I find that old people, my mom is old, and she has to have her cookies. Everything that she's eating has to have the sweets. My dad never eats sweets, always called it rat poison, and
Yeah.
now he has to have his sweets at every meal. There is something with, and my dad at 80, he was climbing mountains, and when he was coming down the mountains, he would lose his toenails. It was so steep, the place, and he was in very good shape. Now he has Parkinson. He
Well,
can.
let me tell you that's because that you just swerved into my original research area when I got my master's in exercise phys. My area of expertise was with older people, and one of the things that I noticed when I was out in a retirement community here in Arizona called Sun City, and I would go into a store there, Eva, and I noticed that the candy aisle was the largest in the entire store. I go, wait a minute. So I started doing some more research, some more homework. This is back in the 80s. And I go, wait a minute. Here's the deal. As we get older, the taste buds on our tongue get deadened. And the ones that are left are the sweet and I think salty. Or is it not bitter?
Oh, most probably
But
salty,
sweet
because
for so, but
yeah,
sweet for sure. And that's why their food doesn't taste good. They need those sweets. Now, your dad was different because he had knowledge of exercise and fitness and nutrition. So he built a habit. See, you don't have to tell me to get up in the morning and go do my exercise routine because I've been doing it for 50 years. Now, somebody else that's never done that and they're 40 pounds overweight and they have high blood pressure and they have all these other issues going on, it's going to be World War III
yeah.
to get them to get up in the morning. Just like this morning, I got up extra early because I had a new client coming in, and he was bringing his daughter, and they met me early. And I thought, and I knew some of the other people were there early. So the other day I said, maybe I should do that too. And I didn't get there quite as early as them, even though I have in the past. But I got up a little early and I felt good. I got there, I got started. I got my whole routine done before he had showed up with his daughter. I thought, wow, this felt pretty good. All because I got up just a little bit earlier. And so I'm already planning for Friday to get up a little bit early. But for most people to do that, Eva,
What is early for you?
4:00.
I wake up every day at 4. At 5, I'm out walking my dog.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a habit, and I love it because I start the day in a very
Your day's longer. By this time, you've already been in a whole day.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm looking at the thing and I'm like, oh my God, look at that! I did this, I did that. So yeah, it's but I love it because I achieve more. In the evening, I'm tired.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, my brain is like kind of foggy, and I need this. So let me ask you something, because I'm very curious. You're working with people to look good. Mm-hmm. We know that society has a very strict kind of view of certain things about perfection. Mm. People, I mean, who decides what is perfect? Yeah. After you.
Well, I'll just tell you this, and this was taught to me by a coach, a friend of mine many years ago. Perfection is the enemy of good. Perfection what is perfection, Eva? I mean, I could say, here, look at you. You look perfect. Your hair, you're dressed today, beautiful, right? And you might be going, oh, I don't really like the way this looks, right? I don't know. Yeah. So perfect for me, is different for you. We're never, all of us are never going to, most of us, I should say, not all, are never going to be satisfied with our appearance, our fitness, our health, something about us, our job, because the number one fear in the world, and maybe tied 1A and 1B, is I'm not good enough. Yeah. It's the number one fear in the world. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough husband. I'm not a good enough boyfriend, wife. I'm not good enough manager at work. I'm not fit enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fast enough. I can't climb the mountain, faster. And so we're constantly telling ourselves these things. So,
But why?
but
Why we are telling
because
ourselves?
society has taught us to chase perfection,
Yeah.
and there's no such thing.
No.
What is perfect? The perfect game. Okay. The baseball player, many years ago, the perfect season in football was the Miami Dolphins 17-0. They won all their games and they won 3 playoff games. Okay. And then 30 years later, maybe 40, 80, 90. 40 years later, the New England Patriots, they won all their games except they're 17 now. So they won 17 games straight. Well, it's not good enough because Miami won all their games, including the Super Bowl. That was 17 games. Mm-hmm. Oh, so then New England had to go win another game, then another game, and they lost their 19th game. Oh, darn. I guess they're not perfect.
And they're not. What about body perfection? Because you work with Dukam
yes.
and says, I want to be like this. I want to be like that. I want to be buff. Yeah.
I have a niece. That I think I'm curious about her. I've known her obviously my whole life. Her whole life. And she comes from a very interesting family. One brother is, I would call him very eccentric. The other brother is amazing. He's the kind of the easygoing one, but even though he has his own issues as well. And he used to work for us as a caregiver because I don't know. Did you know that my son had a traumatic brain injury?
Yes, you mentioned last time.
Yeah, he had a traumatic brain injury. He just died 2 years ago.
Yes.
Which has been some craziness in my family here, but because my wife became the all-star caregiver of all time, learning that through that time. But this niece of mine came to visit about a month ago, and she has recently gone through some really terrible knee surgeries at 33, 34 years old. Just who does this, right? And she's into all this CrossFitting and all this stuff. And so she walks in. I've been in this business a long time. I was a competitive lifter. I've been around competitive body. My coach was Mr. Everything, this stuff, and lifter too. So I know this world really well. So I walk in. She walks into she was here when I got home. First thing is I go, uh-oh, I know where she's going. Because she had that look, her appearance. She looked great, Eva. A girl with ripped abs, right? With abdominals. Like, it's not her legs. She showed me her legs. I go, wow, look at those. And so I was giving her the feedback that she was looking at, because I was looking at her not as her uncle, but as her coach. And she appreciated that because most people don't understand what she's doing. Get it? So she was, and I'm going, whoa. And so we talked. I showed her some exercises. I mean, we had a great talk. But I was kind of poking around because I wanted to, where are you going with this? And I said, do you want to do fitness? Or you want to be a competitive on the stage? She goes, I want to be on stage. I go, oh, okay. Which click, click, click. In my head, I'm thinking, well, that means you're going to be using drugs and all these other things. And I showed her a couple pictures of friends of mine, and she goes, wow. And she was excited about that look. I'm thinking, there's only one way to get that look. But those individuals have a really hard time with perfection, with body image, and they struggle with it. And she's in her 30s, and I know she's had a lot of tough relationships. This is probably why, because being around something like that, you have to have someone like me that understands all that stuff, or you're going to struggle in relationships. And so you have to be very careful that you attract the right person, because if you attract the wrong person and that doesn't give you that feedback you're looking for, you're going to broom them. You're going to move on. And because people that are constantly chasing perfection in body image, Eva, are really hard to be around.
Miserable. They are miserable.
They're never happy.
No.
They can't be. They can't be happy. Because what if they got on stage and they look wonderful and the pictures were beautiful and they got second place?
Tell me something. If you would be now 20 years old with the knowledge you have,
Yeah.
how different would it be? Because they're saying that the youth is
I'd
wasted.
be dangerous even. I would be dangerous. I
But
would be dangerous.
you know, like we had our
Oh
insecurity.
my God. I would, oh my God. If I was right now 20, again, with everything I know, everything would be completely different. I think in my life, I believe I would still be very health oriented, fitness oriented. I would really dive really heavy into coaching, not so much athletic coaching, but coaching strategy. Even though I would have to kick my own fanny about being a 20-year-old life coach, because those guys are interesting. Although a 20-year-old that knows how to do a video production is valuable.
Absolutely.
Is valuable, but he's not a life coach. Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
I would like to see the confidence even in girls. It's like it's okay. It's okay. People, it's funny that the people who are the most beautiful, they are not seeing.
oh, terrible.
And I'm thinking, you know what? How you feel inside, that's what you're going to project. So not the most beautiful women going to attract men because of they're going to make up for that. What the beautiful people don't do.
Yeah, women. I've done work I've done work in the food food addiction space. I know a lot about it. Obviously, it affects mostly women, even though there are men too. It's very sad, and these young ladies are, I think, our media. I think so many, even families, parents, have done such a poor job of creating this body image expectation that's just not possible. And you were not teaching, especially young ladies, to love themselves, to nurture themselves, to appreciate movement and exercise. So they, when they're like you, when they're your age or my age, that they don't mind getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning so they can go for a walk. It does, and it doesn't have to be like my niece that has to go kill herself at the gym. So now she's going for her third knee surgery.
Oh my God. That's
Third.
horrible.
It is horrible. Third knee surgery. And it's, to me, it's not cute. It's not funny, because I look at fitness and wellness and health as very serious things. And yeah, I appreciate her goals and dreams, but you know, she's going to be a very sad person in 10 years if all this was for naught. And she's got a slew of wrecked relationships behind her.
Yeah.
Now what? Now you're a mid 40-year-old lady with no children, and you are depressed. You're not happy about what you did, and you probably are going to have regrets. Well, if I would have done it better, if I would have done this more, I could have won. I could have done this. I could have done that. I don't know, maybe. But that's why when you ask that question about the 20-year-old guy, well, yeah, in this current society time, with what I know now, what I would do, yeah, there's some things I would do differently. Things that I've taught people in relationships and how to attract certain partners. I would do things. I would do something different. My career would probably be a little different. Because when I was 20 years old, all I ever wanted to do was coach and teach. And really it was just coaching. The only reason I went into teaching was because that was the fastest path to be a coach.
But don't you think that all the not mistakes, I don't call them mistakes, but all the experiences you had brought you where you are, and made me who I am. In your skin, you feel good in your skin because you know exactly who you are. It's funny because if you look back in different eras, like the Rubenesque era, everything was nice, the women to be plump. After it was, I believe, the 60s, 70s, everybody was like skinny. Yeah, skinny. Because of Twiggy. Twiggy, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was thinking of her today. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, because women look at Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. And who's the other one that was married? The Elizabeth Taylor?
No, with her, but there was one before Marilyn Monroe that was known as the blonde bombshell as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
those ladies?
Yeah, I know which one you're
I think she
talking
was German or something. I'm like, what, no, she married a German guy.
about. Not
Um,
Not Marlene Dietrich. It was another one.
no, it was
I remember.
whatever.
Yeah.
But they were all, in today's standards, would be considered plump.
Yeah. And you know what's the funny thing? That I talk to men and they say, we don't really want a skinny woman.
Mm-mm.
We like a little bit. And I was talking to a 28 years old and he says, I like muffin tops. I'm like, okay. You know?
I mean, it is what it is what it is. I have a friend. She's a great friend. I met her and then I introduced her to my wife, and my wife's going, she's driving me crazy with all the things she's doing. She got divorced, and beautiful lady, very fit. And she's in her mid 40s and she's promoting her fitness for women her age. And she's got, I want to say 2 adult sons. They're in their 20s. I want to say 2. And her husband's a great guy, had lots of money. And so now I'm not sure, I think she's dating, but she does all this fitness stuff and she's getting leaner and leaner and leaner. And my wife was kind of annoyed by the fact that, okay, what is she doing now? Because she's wearing, less and less clothing. And I think she has a good heart. But when I first met her, I thought she was a very attractive lady. And now the more she's getting leaner and leaner, I'm thinking, it's not as attractive to me.
Yes.
But some ladies like that. I remember there was a friend of mine. She was a bodybuilder, fitness person. Gosh, 25 years ago, I met her at a gym. And when she walked into the gym, she looked radiant. She always had beautiful clothes on. Hair was beautiful, pretty lady. I go, wow, she is a very attractive lady. And then she'd get in her gym clothes and start working out. I go, not really. Because her body was just muscle. I mean, just sheer muscle. I'm thinking, not so much. Get it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I don't know what they're thinking, but isn't that the big problem that you find anyways with men and women? We're not communicating. So the women don't know what the men want. The men don't know what the women want. And so you have this mass confusion.
And but the one thing I find, and being in the fitness industry, I'm looking at women and they don't know where to put themselves. They want to look sexy, but they look trashy because they wear almost nothing. Everything is hanging out. And it's like, you know what? Just feel comfortable, because the man is going to approach you because you have something to offer, something that it's kind, something that it's very different. Yes, you have the body, but the body never lasts unless you have zillions of plastic surgeries. So, it's like, come on. Men, and after they blaming the men that, they look at me, they made a comment on me. Yeah, hello. Men usually are like.
I mean, look, I'm not a monk. I'll be honest with you. This morning I was finishing up my exercises, and there was I didn't even know I've seen her before. She was at the gym, very attractive young lady. I wasn't even sure how old she was, but so I'm trying not to but I'm not a complete moron. I mean, and she was doing some exercise in front of me and she wasn't wearing a lot of clothes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Attractive. And then I finished what I was doing. I came back and I was talking to my friend, the guy that played in the NFL, and she came over and we started talking and I got to know her. She went to the high school right there where I found out what she did. She's a softball player and she had a beautiful personality and just a nice little, I would call her a kid, mm-hmm. But now I'll look at her completely different. But the fact is, she I don't know. I mean, she's there for athletics. She's a softball player. And I know that's why she's working there. So you're exactly right. Why did she put on those short little shorts today to go to the gym? Maybe it's because it makes her feel good. I don't know.
I don't
Why
know.
did guys? We had an issue at this gym a year ago when COVID hit, because we were one of the few gyms that was open, and some good friends and very good spirited young men would come in there. It was hot. It was in the summer, and it's outside. You know, we're covered, but we're outside, and they were taking their shirts off at the end of the workout. And you know, these kid, they were kids. They were early 20s and teenage young men, and they're taking their shirts off. And believe me, this is not that kind of gym, Eva, where there's a lot of young ladies running around. And so no one really cared except for one lady. She was older. She was my age, a little younger than me, a little plump, which is fine. And her husband comes in there, and he's a nice guy. And she's been there for many years. And she came up and she goes, Arnie, you have to tell those guys to put their shirts on.
Why?
And I know my wife had come up to bring my grandkids there one day, and she goes, I was just fine with that.
But you know what? I have been in the fashion industry, and I'm admiring a woman or a man.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with anything, but it's like, oh my God, they take care of themselves. They are well.
It's hard work.
Yeah, it's never easy.
Hey, look, I was staring at my niece, not because of a sexual, it's like I was appreciating the hard work.
Yeah, of course.
And she was showing me these muscles and stuff. I'm going, wow. Okay. and that's the way I look at these things at the gym, but someone else is looking at it like, I don't need to see that. I was like, well, wait a minute. I mean, this is a person. So you want them to put on a tank top where they can see, where you're going to see 90% of it anyways.
Yes.
I mean, what's the problem here? Is it because you don't feel good about yourself, which is probably it is, versus appreciating that this 25-year-old young man who's single is taking care of himself? Gosh, that's pretty cool. How about this? If she would have done this, Eva, if she would have walked up to him, she would have changed everybody's world. She would have said, I'd like to say something to you. What's that, man? I appreciate how hard you're working. You are incredibly fit. And I just wanted to say that to you because I've just been watching you and you're in fantastic shape. That guy would have been it would have changed everything.
Of course.
But she didn't. She went the other route, and he became annoyed by her.
Oh yeah. You know what? I don't, even if I'm on the street and I see someone that looks good or something, I say it. I don't have a problem because it is the truth. If it's not the truth, I would never say anything. Yeah. And I don't care if girls, like, especially if you work out and you have a great body, and it depends of the place where you don't wear much clothes. And I don't know, you have been on Clubhouse, and there are some people who are saying, oh, I'm a marketing executive, and it's almost half naked. And I'm like, you know what? If I want to have marketing done, I don't think I would approach you. Yeah, you look beautiful, you look great, but I'm always saying, what is the occasion you're dressing for? Like for me, it's because that's what I'm doing. So.
Sure. Well, no, you're presenting an image of, look at me. I'm a professional. I work with image. I will help you to create a better, more positive image for yourself. I mean, I wouldn't go to somebody that had frumpy hair and a torn T-shirt and all the other things that aren't impressive. I mean, we have that. Just to me, it's common sense. But it's no different than in the fitness world. If some very obese man walked up to me and said, hey, Arnie, I'm going to show you how to get really fast. I'm going, man, you better have some evidence of some of your clients or you're wasting my time.
Well, you are your own business card.
You are. Even though you can. My nephew has a speed coach in Tucson area here, and he's a big, heavy dude, but he has the track record of helping people.
Yeah.
But that's okay too, because it's like, remember the doctors of many years ago, yes. They'd be sitting in there smoking and telling you to stop smoking. They would.
Yeah, I know.
They would. Or they reach in their cabinet and this is my day when we grew up, they pull out their nutrition plan and go, here, you need to lose 25 pounds. And they're thinking, oh man, look at you, you know? And but today, in today's world, if we're not our own business cards, we are going to set ourselves back.
Yeah.
With social media now and doing all this stuff, because if we're having a conversation right now and you're talking to me about image and relationship and this and that, and you're a train wreck, I'm thinking, well, why am I going to waste my time here? This is no good.
Yeah.
You know, I want, because everything's fast. So we may not have time to develop a relationship, so I can learn about you and learn about how you can help me in my situation. So that first, what do they call it? The first impression may truly be the most valuable, right?
Yes.
And we have to be aware of that. So I think you're exactly right. If you're going to jump on a call or some kind with somebody that you're trying to impress, you better be ready.
Absolutely.
And if you're not, it's shame on you, because you knew this is a different ball game than it was, even 10 years ago, with the social media now, and things get out there, and it's kind of funny. You ever see these celebrities that get picked up for drinking and driving, and they get the mug shot?
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy,
it's horrible.
It's the worst, but that's the way most of us probably are. Whereas these guys are always made up and looking, the nice suit or the nice shirt, and so they always look
makeup, and you can see whatever. Well, do you have? Are you following still Tony Robbins, or you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I went through so many of his training programs, Eva. Big fan. I did stuff with Chloe Madonis and her daughter and her husband, and I'm still like a lifetime member. So they'll send me things, and my thing is I get so much stuff now. It's like, okay, I got to stay focused, because I heard it called one time shiny rock syndrome. I have, if something looks cool, I want to look at it. And so I have to be very clear. Like, I have my notebooks by my desk here that I have to, like this afternoon, I've got to make my phone calls. And then I have to go back to the gym and meet a guy who's training for the Grand Canyon and show him some new exercises. And then I got to come back, and I've got a schedule that if I don't follow it, I can drift very quickly. So Robbins, to me, Robbins has been the one coach that has really helped me quite a bit from a understanding me, because I didn't have a specialty, but I could do a lot of different things, and because I'm a teacher, and I love people. I truly love people. Before this whole judgment thing that we talk about now, to me, judgment is poison. I don't want to judge anybody, but at the same time, I don't want you judging me. Okay. So, because people want to do that all day long. They want to tell Eva what to do. They want to tell Arnie what to do. And I was like, look, that's not how I operate, So
do you think everybody should have a coach? Like, I have a coach. I have a JT Fox. So, and I have
JT, I met him at a thing here.
Yeah, he's totally.
He's a trip.
Cool. Yeah, he's a trip. He's totally cool. Very like, oh, this is who I am. You like it? You don't like it? Come on, do it. So, why I'm talking about the coaching?
I do.
You are a coach, and I think people, if they want to get in contact with you, how they can get in contact?
Well, the best way is just call me. Call me or text me. 602-390-9144. I do a lot of work with pain, joint pain now. I do a lot of other types of coaching too, because I'll help you figure things out, whether it be from a health standpoint, a fitness standpoint, or any other goals you might have as well. But just give me a call. We're working on some new stuff. My website, my Grand Canyon website is epicadventure.info. So you can see some information there. But just call me. We'll set up a time to talk about whatever your issue might be. I did a lot of work with traumatic injuries. So I've dealt with just about everything, Eva, from a health standpoint that you can imagine, or not even imagine. And then absolutely. And I'll just, my adage is, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to hold your hand through just about everything I can until you push me away and say, okay, I got this. I got this. Because that's my way of coaching. We need that. We need a little more hand holding. We need what I call, because especially with emotions, and I think you find this out well, emotions are like waves in the ocean. They come in, they go out. They come in, and some days are better than other days. And sometimes people just need to talk to Eva, right? It's like, Eva, do you have a minute? And you go, yeah. And it's like, this came up. Because sometimes when you wait a week to talk to your coach, it's too long. And we need to solve the issue, because in the therapy world, if somebody solves that issue when it happens, then maybe they'll be able to work with me a little bit harder and achieve that goal. So it's all kind of tied together. It's tied together.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to list the information. If you can text it to me, I would appreciate it. Yeah. And I thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate your fun. This is fun. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I love your compassion and your kindness. I can hear it in your voice, and every time you're on the Clubhouse, I thank God you're there to keep everybody straight. But you're needed. What you're doing is needed in the world, and you know that. So just keep doing what you're doing, and it's going to make a difference.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I'll
Thank you for listening. I hope you got some value. And please don't forget, call or get in touch with me at eva.therelationshipmaker.com, or I'm going to post Arnie's information. Have a good day.